Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. Back in August of 2001, right before 9/11 hit, Benjamin Crime's master wrote an article, and it was entitled, "Sufficient unto the Day is the Evil Thereof." And I remember he started off the article by saying that few have even heard of this passage and remember this passage, and even fewer live by its principle. But what it boils down to is when evil strikes, the best thing to do is nothing. And when you do that, you don't give your attacker any energy. It's a very hard principle to live by, and like I said, few live by its principle. But these masters, and especially Maitreya, when you see them, when they're going to be advocating, when they're out and about, when a terrorist strike happens, or a person does something to you individually or whatever, they're going to tell you to follow that principle. Just let the evil happen, and then let the karma lords do your bidding for you, because you're going to hear a lot of things from these masters, a lot of teachings and stuff. But what you're never going to hear is the word judgment and punishment from them. The need for judgment and the need for punishment, because these masters don't use those words. Even Jesus. So as expected as Jesus is going to be this awesome judge that's going to judge everybody, and if you're good, you get to go live in heaven, and if you're bad, well, it sucks for you, right? You're not going to hear those words out of Maitreya or Jesus or any of these other masters. In fact, when I saw Maitreya on the street a few years back, he said to me, "I never judge anyone on whether they're good or bad. I only notice the good things that they do." And I remember reading in one of Benjamin Crime's books, Maitreya was talking about Saddam Hussein, and as bad as an image and press that he had here in the United States, for instance. And I'm not saying he was a good man, but according to Maitreya, he had a good heart and he was very generous. And that's all they see. So Maitreya, that's all he sees when he sees any one of us. All the faults that and the guilt and the and all the resentments that we have and everything like this, he doesn't see any of that stuff. He only sees who you really are, which is the divine potential, which we all are, right? And he'll speak directly to that. But you'll never hear him judge or, advocate punishments or anything like that. Now, I'm assuming, I don't know if it's true or not, but, as the principle of sharing starts, it's not like war is going to automatically end. It's going to take a while. But these masters will be advocating over and over again for our world leaders not to pursue a kind of counter-terror policy, to let it just happen and then watch what happens. And then it'll eventually give the other group that's attacking less energy. And that's on both sides, because the United States is guilty of instigating terror on its own end, right? So, on the other end, if it's happening to a country that the United States is messing with, well, the best thing for that country to do is nothing too, and not to try to attack it. And so they also said, in looking at it from an individual standpoint, right? Well, I'm not advocating that all murderers be just let go on the street. That's not what I'm saying. But I know in this country, in the United States, there's capital punishment, right? And I've always been against capital punishment. But from the master's point of view, it doesn't do any good, because it's not, yes, put the person in prison, but also try to rehabilitate them once they're in prison, and not just kill them off. Because these masters, when they see an event, they see all the karma that built up to it from lifetimes ago. And I remember Benjamin Crime's master said that he didn't say it like this, I'm paraphrasing, but if you were raped, molested, or somebody was attacked or murdered or something like this, and evil strikes that person, right? You have a very good chance, not 100%, but a pretty strong chance that you were the attacker in the last lifetime. So, for instance, if a person was murdered in this lifetime, right, and they murdered somebody, or they were murdered by somebody, well, they probably murdered that person who murdered them in this lifetime, and so forth and so forth. And it can go back for many lifetimes. So these masters see the karma that it took to get to that event, where there really is no guilt. It's just a balancing out of karma. So that when these masters talk about justice, for instance, and this brings me to my point about justice, is they're not coming from justice that needs to be resolved like revenge, right? We need to take our revenge out on whoever hurt us. They're not going to be advocating that, of course. When they talk about justice, they're talking about everyone in the world, whether you have a lot or a little or a few, a little bit more than somebody else, or you don't have anything, right? Your life matters. And I know in the West, we don't realize that there are people who live in other countries that have zero, have nothing. There are people that live in and around trash dumps. That's their life. And how could you think your life matters when you're living like that, right? So when people's needs are met, because we live in a world where we have enough food, we have enough building products, we have enough everything to where everybody could actually live at a comfortable level. It doesn't mean everyone's going to be rich. It just means that everyone has what they need to get by day. And then when that happens, especially, and I always talk about Maitreya and these masters being the X factor for change. Well, the X factor is then they will start to build within all of us this sense that we matter, that we can create, that the same star stuff that built stars and the cosmos itself is what our bodies are built out of. As above, so below. We are gods in incarnation, just like, but are we a god or the God? No, but we all share that same divinity. And I know the Christian churches deny that. And they say, oh, no, there's only one God, and there's me, I'm the sinner, I'm this. And that's fine if you want to believe that, but there's no truth to it. Now, are we perfect? No, of course not. And that's the point. But these masters, they know when they see you, they know your potential. They know who you really are. But we can't be truly creative when we're only thinking about where our next meal is coming from, or where are we going to stay the night because it's raining or cold outside or whatever. We're only thinking about survival mode. It's kind of getting people out of survival mode and into more creative mode is really what it is. And the good news is, like I've said, everything's there in place right now to share the resources effectively. It's just a matter of implementing the will of the people. And that's what Maitreya is starting to talk to, on TV about, is how do we get about doing this? Because we don't have to invent a plane or invent trains or invent boats, or we don't have to grow more food than we've already been doing. It's already there in place to help service those who don't have anything. But as Maitreya says, the first step to justice is we have to share. And then once everyone sees that they matter, that they have a voice, that they are divine, they won't feel the need to lash out the way that they're doing. And it will help to alleviate the fear and the distrust amongst nations, amongst individuals. But these masters will never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, advocate justice based on revenge. But, and as always, take action. Help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos. Have a great day.